Hello, it's Denise again, and I'm going to share with you today a little meditation to offer us a energy and a chakra energy tune-up. And this is by request of my Reiki students and the Reiki masters that I've trained, as this is often a meditation that I share in our classes. I'm going to invite you to bring your healing hands with you today. Whether you have Reiki or not, we all have natural healing ability. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity to really settle in your nervous system and give yourself that nurturing and yeah, that beautiful self-love. That is such a gift to have during times like these. The information I'm sharing comes primarily from Caroline Myss, Myss. I'm not sure if you know her, but she wrote a book called Anatomy of Spirit that was about chakra theory. She has a couple of audio collections called Energy Anatomy 1 and 2, and there's so much information in there. She also co-authored a book called Creation of Health with Dr. Norm Shealy, who she used to work with. He's a medical doctor, and she used to do medical intuitive services with him. And so she has such a wealth of information about chakra theory. It's amazing. And I'm also going to throw in a little bit from Maria Nemeth. She is a life coach who wrote a book called Mastering Life's Energies, which is absolutely brilliant. So I found that this little bit of information from her is also goes so beautifully with chakra theory, and so many people have found it useful over the years that I've been teaching. As of this weekend, we will have taught 99 Reiki masters. Is that amazing? And about 240 students, Reiki students altogether. So that's a lot, and it's really been such a gift for our community and changing the dynamics. So I'm going to invite you to get comfortable. You can be sitting or laying down, and if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes. Help you go inward. Bring in my little crystal bowl again. The chakras are energy vortexes in our body. We have 7 main chakras that are so important to really dive into in order to understand ourselves developmentally, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They offer such a host of wisdom. And the first chakra is at the base of our spine. It's often called the root chakra or the first chakra. And if you like, I invite you to put your hands on your pubic bone, which will help you to send your own innate healing energy into your root chakra. It is often seen as red, and it really represents safety and groundedness and the way that we feel that in the physical world. And so we may just have an innate sense of safety wherever we go in the world. And the root chakra also is so instrumental for being able to manifest our desires into physical form. So being able to really create and manifest through our own commitment and consistency. And so part of the law of attraction is being willing to act on our intuition and inspiration to be able to create. And we probably all have, those friends who are just dreamers, and it's so wonderful to be in their energy vortex because they are dreaming and visioning and just masterminding the whole entire universe and thinking of all the infinite possibilities. And yet sometimes they don't always have all that much drive to actually do things, to create things. So we need both of it. And so sometimes we have insecurities that we may experience during our early life that may get in the way of us feeling safe. We may feel like the world isn't really home, or it's a frightening place. And so it's really important for us to have that sense of grounding where we do feel at home in the world, where we where we feel so much more empowerment to be ourselves and to be in the world and to navigate the world. So go ahead and with your hands on your root chakra, feel into how you're feeling in terms of your sense of safety in the world. Where do you notice old fears still coming up in your life that are getting in the way of you fully expressing your unique self in the world? And just give your beautiful root chakra all kinds of beautiful love and honoring and nurturing for all the wondrous gifts that your root chakra has gifted you in life. Beautiful, beautiful. And now we're going to explore our second chakra a little bit. And this one is in the genital region, along with the root chakra. But it's a little bit below your belly button, kind of going towards your spine or the center of your body. And this one is often seen as orange, and it's related to power and control in the material world around money, sex, politics, economics, and control of other people in business and in our personal relationships. And so in this one, you may want to reflect on how you learned to share with others as a child. In general, how do you relate to other people? How is your sense of self-worth without self-worth being related to how many things you own in the world? Without all the material objects. And oftentimes we will feel like when we have financial issues, we may feel a little bit of strain or even pain in our lower backs. We may have some insecurities around our capacity to take care of ourselves financially in this world. We may have fears around sexuality or parenting, or around dominance and control. So just let yourself feel into that beautiful orange chakra. We usually see it as orange. Some people see it otherwise, but just below your belly button. And feel, how are you in relationship to relationships? To your sense of power and control with other people. How secure are you feeling in the world financially? And yeah, with global economics, it may be a huge trigger and a challenge right now. And it's also a beautiful opportunity to do that deeper work around our fears and our faith. And give that beautiful chakra some love and nurturing. And then we're going to move up to our third chakra, which is often called the solar plexus chakra. The second is often called the sacral. And the third chakra is just above our belly button, also towards the center of our body or close to our spine. And this is one that is often seen as yellow. I feel like it's like our personal sunshine that we share in the world, related to personal power, the fear of intimidation or rejection, can be related to self-esteem or the lack thereof, and also to our survival intuition, which is very powerful. And so developmentally, as children, we begin to explore our personal choices, vocalizing our opinions, feeling respected and validated. We may fear intimidation or taking responsibility for ourselves and our lives. The survival intuition is really powerful. It's that that part of ourselves that gets to choose what kind of life assignments we want to show up for. Like if we choose to go to a class or a workshop or something like that, and we intuit about it and we feel, yeah, this is safe and this is appropriate for me. And then maybe it's a big conference center and there's hundreds of people and chairs set up, and you just happen to be sitting next to someone that has an exact piece of information for you that you have been looking for. It's like, our spirit just kind of guides us in all the ways to end up right where we need to be. And it's very, very powerful to be able to honor that sense of survival intuition. So go ahead and feel into your sense of self-esteem and self-confidence, self-worth. Your sense of integrity with how you show up with others. In a way that honors the truth, your authentic truth of who you be. Just giving your solar plexus chakra so much love and appreciation for the way that you have grown into your authentic identity, for the way that you navigate the world with so much sovereignty. Which brings us to the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra. And that one is right at the center of our chest in between our breasts. And this one is often seen as green, connected, of course, with our heart and all that area of our body. And this is a chakra that really helps us to learn about the balance between giving and receiving as we navigate the world. And love is such a huge part of life, and our heart chakra really helps us to express ourselves in the way that feel meaningful to our heart's desires, of honoring our passion. And we often experience stories in our lives that teach us that love is pain that can happen. And because love is such a like a hard wiring in life, we may inadvertently manifest relationships that teach us again that love is pain. And it may seem like a cruel joke of the law of attraction of spirit or the universe that keeps us in that repeated pattern. But every time it's actually an opportunity to do the deeper healing, where we learn to honor ourselves and really return to self-love as a foundation for loving all others, where we no longer give ourselves away. We may learn about forgiveness and letting go of resentment. We may learn to navigate our lives in a way where our heart is in it. Our heart is in whatever we choose, rather than allowing ourselves to be trapped in professions or relationships or circumstances that just seem to suck the life out of our hearts, because that is really hard to be with in the long term, for sure. So just let yourself feel your heart chakra, your relationship to love and self-love, where there may be stories left over from the past that we have yet to make peace with or forgive, as they say. Wishing all that love on your heart chakra through your healing hands. We then want to move up to the throat chakra, which is, if you follow the collarbones and there's like a little divot at where they come together, and that is where the throat chakra can be found. And this one is often seen as blue. And feel free to hold your healing hands over your beautiful throat chakra. And of course, this is the chakra of communication, of personal expression, and it's also the chakra of willpower. And it helps us to learn about accountability and cause and effect. And we learn that all of the thoughts and the words and our intentions as well as our actions all have consequences. We learn about our individuality, our creativity, our self-expression, taking responsibility for our personal goals. We face our fears of self-expression, of ridicule. We may also experience dishonesty and the consequences of that, the consequences of trying to control others. And there's an important piece here about the willpower that I want to share, because your heart chakra, and then we're going to talk about your third eye or your sixth chakra next, but your throat is right in the middle. And so many times when we're in a growth phase, we may experience circumstances where our heart has one bit of wisdom for us and our minds have a completely different kind of wisdom for us. So say we are in a relationship or in a job where we feel pretty safe, but we also know that our heart isn't in it. And we may get those stirrings for change, to look at doing something completely different. And our minds may be like recoiling at the mere thought of changing things up when we're surviving just fine where we are. And so what happens when our heart and our minds are not congruent is our throat is in the center trying to exert willpower, but is feeling torn in two different directions. And so I'm not sure if you've ever had the experience where you feel a call to change, and every other minute you may have a different opinion about it, where you're like, I'm going to go for it. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. And you're just like back and forth. And that is really takes a toll on the throat chakra, which, it just doesn't know which way to steer us when we're in that kind of conflict. So I think that is really important to understand that about the throat chakra, because there's so much wisdom in there. And if we feel like really incongruent and like we don't know which way to go, oftentimes this is where like addictions that are life altering may show up, getting in the way for us. And so continue to send some love to your throat chakra. We'll feel into that. Like, how are you feeling with regard to your own willpower, your sense of direction in the world? Where might you have some habits or patterns or beliefs that are really holding you back? And how are you feeling around your self-expression and really bringing your creativity in the world, of being witnessed in the truth of who you be? Beautiful. Just feeling into that beautiful blue chakra, usually seen as blue. And now bringing our hands up to our forehead or our third eye or sixth chakra. This is sometimes called the eye of wisdom. And the wisdom is both intellectual and intuitive. Both are really important. So we go through so much learning in the course of our lives. And of course, there's a sophistication to the learning, where we go from learning the rudimentary kinds of academic things that we learn in school, and that just keeps building on itself as we go through all of the levels of our education. And then there's, the like the wisdom that we grow as a result of experiencing life and getting to know so many things. But the intuition piece is also so important, that mysterious part of us that's like the spiritual intuition. And it's really important for us to be able to examine ourselves, to be self-reflective and really get a keen sense of who we be. And without that self-awareness, sometimes we may show up in the world in really shadowy ways, where it's like the secrets we keep from ourselves are harming ourselves or other people. And so it's really important to look at that. And it's important for us to be able to be in contact with our emotions, to be able to feel them and express them in healthy ways. And to also have like a spiritual perspective of the world, where we learn progressively to hold everything with non-attachment and non-judgment, which can be really challenging, of course. And there's also the piece about personal accountability, of knowing who we are, expressing who we are, and being willing to accept the consequences that we put out in the world. So feel into that beautiful sixth chakra, your third eye, often seen as indigo. You may have noticed that the colors of the chakras are often seen like the colors of the rainbow and the old Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and then the last one will be violet. So how are you feeling in relationship to your intellect and your intuition, of your innate sense of wisdom and the way that you express that in the world? Just giving yourself some love. And then we're going to move up to that beautiful seventh chakra, the crown chakra, often seen as violet, as we said. And this one is right at the top of our head. And this one is for like acceptance of our life, especially as we grow older, where we can see like that beautiful eagle view of our lives, where everything, including the challenges, somehow contributed to how meaningful our life is and whole. And the seventh chakra really helps us to find our purpose or meaning in life and how we're meant to express ourselves. It includes our personal attitudes, our values, our ethics, our impressions about life in general. And all of these have power, and they help us to navigate the universal law of attraction in mature ways, rather than just trying to fill our ego needs. And here again, addictions may impact our capacity to be able to accomplish our soul purpose, whatever that may be. We want to feel like we have a meaningful life. It's so important. So let yourself feel into, how are you feeling? Are you at peace with your life so far? What feels like it is missing? Or have you been holding yourself back? is where spirit or God or the universe or source comes through and animates our energy bodies. This is such an important chakra. If you want to relax your hands or place them gently at your side or just intuit a placement for them, we'll talk about a little bit more. But yeah, just inviting yourself to be comfortable. Some other views from energy anatomy from Caroline Myss around our chakras to help us to get a bigger picture of them. Our first chakra, it has a lot of tribal programming in it. So all of the acculturation or cultural beliefs that we have been given, you may be thinking of it in tribal beliefs, because we all kind of belong to a group, a family, a community, or some groups who really determine our worldview a lot. And so we contain a lot of programming. And we may feel empowered, we may feel victimized. So how are we with that? What have we learned that's useful or not? And when we are very connected with our tribe or our community or our family and that whole scope of beliefs, we will often feel that change only occurs at the rate that the whole entire group of us go. So when we are more standing in our sovereignty and our individuality, we're able to change directions much, much faster than if we're still plugged into a lot of communal beliefs. And one of the things that's really common for spiritual people especially is we're often born into the wrong tribe or family, where we often experience a lot of conflict earlier in our life that is very inconvenient and sometimes traumatizing, but also can teach us a lot about who we are based on all of the mirrors of who we are not that we're surrounded with. And in our second chakra, we assert our will over others. And so we may find it really important to keep our vow to others in order to have integrity. And there's also a lot of energy here that helps us to birth our creative ideas into reality. And our tribal views around money, sexuality, power, and what healing looks like and how long it takes are all located in this chakra. And in the third, we learn to assert our will over our body. And so in this one, personal integrity is about keeping our vows to ourselves, which can sometimes be harder than keeping them to other people. And we often hold like codes of spirituality or religion in this chakra. And we may find that those like precepts that we have grown up with around religion will suddenly betray us. Like those archetypes that belong to that may betray us. So I know for some, like the archetype of marriage is a very powerful archetype that is loaded with all kinds of belief about what that means. And so many people find themselves in where that archetype seems to betray them, where they don't seem to quite belong in it, or they can't survive or succeed in it. And so there's so much growth that comes from being able to have those experiences around the failure of those archetypes for us personally, where we learn more about ourselves and become more authentic through that disappointment. Here we also learn that all of our thoughts and words and deeds are prayers or daggers. And that is really powerful to remember that even thoughts that are not expressed have ripple effects in the world that others may or may not become conscious of, but often they have like a little intuitive knowing about that. And so integrity is so important here in terms of being able to align ourselves with our higher truth and show up that way in the world. And fourth chakra is around asserting our will over our attitudes and the courage it takes to form self-love, where in our communal approaches often we are taught that we need to give away our sovereignty in order to protect or nurture other people. And there's a lot of power in forgiveness here, of being able to see the divine picture or plan, the overview of our life, where in the grand tapestry things make sense, even the things that felt like they hurt us in the moment. And in the fifth chakra, we learn to surrender to the divine, as in living thy will be done. And for this reason, I feel like the throat chakra is often not really acknowledged as a very spiritual chakra, but how I feel it really, really is. So oftentimes in our spiritual journey, we have to face the fear of like poverty or failure, misery, of we're renouncing all material gain. And so we're tapping into those archetypes of being like the begging monk, or like in artist terms, the starving artist. And oftentimes we have to face our fears of being broken in two, of losing at that material level, in order to really align with our deeper path and purpose. We also learn that we're more energy than matter. And so in earlier phases of development, we may feel like, oh, I have an ailment. I go to the doctor, I get the pill, I take the pill, I get better. And I'll stop at Burger King on my way home. And when we get like more into our spiritual maturity, we find that those quick fixes often don't work as well for us. And we also don't get as many passes on poor choices. And so we have more immediate consequences when we do partake of things that may be toxic to our systems, and things like that, whether that be food or medicine or lifestyle choices, or even other people who may not have our best interest at heart, for example. And oftentimes we start to come into our empowerment as healers and learning about what that may mean. And oftentimes we'll also even carry the denser energies of other people or of the collective. And we have to learn that just because we don't feel great all the time, it doesn't mean that we're being punished by God or spirit or source or the universe. That sometimes there's just a bigger picture at play, and we may have roles that we're not even consciously aware of for a while. And we need to call back all the fears and the attachments that we have that have power over us, so that we come into our own empowerment. And we will find too that our relationship to time and aging changes here. And because we're more energetic than we are material, we may find that some really interesting events come around our healing, around our aging. Yeah, it can be really beautiful. Another thing too is energetic lobby, where we learn that we may have more effectiveness through our prayers or through sending Reiki or other energy healing through into the world to help in different ways, that may be more effective even than going down to pitch in and support things. And so energetic lobby could be like in the days when I used to spend a lot of time writing letters to Washington, D.C. and going down to the state legislature and lobbying for youth programs or environmental policies that were important to my heart. I spent so much time and energy doing that. It was exhausting. And I found that I was able to have as much or more effect through my energetic practices, which was really reassuring and efficient, very efficient. And we may also feel into our sixth chakra, where we are connected to the collective consciousness. And here, those archetypes are really important. So we may feel into some of the survival archetypes that Caroline Myss talks about, where they influence our lives. We all have these. We all have a victim archetype. Like, where do we feel victimized in the world instead of empowered? And another one would be the saboteur, and that one comes up a lot. Like, where are we sabotaging ourselves? Because that's so important to look at. And we also have a prostitute. For what will we sell our souls? And that is another one that's really important to look at. There's another one, fourth one. Shoot, can't remember it. I'll put it in the notes. And another one is like, what are the archetypes that really call us forth? Like, we may carry like the helpless princess, or the savior knight, or the geek, or the magnanimous leader, or the jester, or like, we have like these little bits of our soul that express. And which are the ones that really call us forth? Do they feel like they're aligned to our soul path? I think those are really important to look at. And then in our seventh chakra, we realize that every choice begins with divine guidance. We mentioned how your crown chakra is like where spirit or source comes in, and where we get those like energetic upgrades and attunements and inspirations that come through. And so I'm going to take you on a little journey right now so you can get a sense of how inspiration operates through your chakras. So imagine that you're out hiking in nature, or you're meditating one day, and all of a sudden you have this insight, like we would call it a download, that seems to come into your crown chakra. And all of a sudden you feel like the tingling and the lighting up, and the resonance and the excitement that comes from getting this great idea. And you bring that in from your crown into your third eye. And then you intellect around it. You like run it through your wisdom filters, and you feel into your intuition about it. And you feel whether this really feels like it's something that is aligned, and that would be splendid for your path. And say, it just feels really, really good. And so you bring it down to your throat chakra, and then maybe you decide to share your inspiration with a trusted friend, and to be witness to how they receive that. And it's important at this time to like safeguard your inspiration, to make sure that it's somebody who is supportive of you in your totality, that receives that wisdom. And then listen to how they receive you, what kind of feedback comes in, but also feel your heart when you are sharing that, and how much excitement there is in that. And then we bring it into our heart chakra. And our heart chakra, we feel into whether it aligns with our heart's desires. Is it really something that we want to put our heart into? And now with all of these upper chakras, there is absolutely no weight or density. There's no fears about like, will we survive if we do this? Will people still respect us? Will my family still love me? And all these different things. Those come in just a moment. But right now there is just pure lightness and beauty and levity. And it just feels so good to hold our inspirations in these upper chakras. And then we come to the place where Maria Nemeth talks about in Mastering Life's Energies, what she calls trouble at the border. And so our lower chakras are those that are involved with survival. and they have a lot of weight and density. So when we pull that energy from our heart down into our third chakra, we're going to have to cross the border. And then there's trouble at the border. And so this is the place where things start to look really hard. So we may get the inspiration to, like, when we got the inspiration to buy this house, when we got to this place, all kinds of things in the inspections were looking problematic, and the water had been turned off for several years. And when we turned the water back on, it came out looking like chocolate milk, or worse, like poop. And it fouled all the plumbing. And we're like, oh my goodness, now we have to go and replace all the fixtures in the house. And what does that mean for our water quality? And so like things like that go wrong, or we're setting up an office or a business, and all of a sudden we're dealing with the density of like setting up websites and working with other people, and getting furniture or an office. And so there's all these things, that's practical details that have to come in, and oftentimes it's just not seamless or effortless, but we'll have to really check in with, what is that? What is the message in that? Is it a message that this isn't worth it? Or is it a message that we need to persevere, that we need to be tenacious and believe in our dreams and goals? And so knowing that that is a natural phase that we will have to go through in order to bring our heart's desires into the material world can be so validating and honoring. And just a call to, like, courage to look at what we really, really want and to align ourselves accordingly. And then we bring it down into our second chakra. And here is where we start to really put a lot of creativity into it. And this can be just a beautiful phase of really feeling how our inspiration is taking shape into the material reality. And Caroline Myss warns us at this point, if we if we somehow turn the idea back around and we decide not to do it at this point, we're not going to put our life force into it, then this is a really important step that we need to honor the letting go of this inspiration with some kind of ceremony. And so she talks about it as if it's like an energetic abortion, and we need to really honor all of the process that we have gone through to date in order to clear the energy so that we don't fear inspiration or creativity again. And then we bring it down into our root chakra, and we totally make the inspiration manifest. And then the energy travels back up our spine, and then we're open to more inspiration from spirit. And this is such a glorious way to live spiritually, where we're in perpetual spiritual download mode and creativity mode, and following our soul path and purpose, and feeling so completely aligned and empowered as we go. It's such a beautiful gift to be able to live this way. And I wish in my heart for that, for everyone to be able to experience that. And so just trying to clean up that one more survival archetype that is just still not coming to mind. So I'll put that in the notes below, and sorry about that. But just to really honor that, our survival archetypes and our soul archetypes are all working constantly through us and giving us all kinds of direction and how to go in life, and really creating deeper and deeper self-awareness as we go, which is so important. I feel like that is the path to enlightenment, to be so self-aware that we navigate the world with so much consciousness, and we're able to create so much beauty in that way. And so, my beloveds, I thank you for joining me for this meditation, and I hope you found value in it. I welcome you to share any insights that came through for you in the comments, and always encouraging you to like this video, to subscribe to our channel to help us grow. Love you so much. So many blessings. Bye.